Welcome back, everyone. We're diving into something pretty cool today. Teaching English online. Get this. Without a college degree.
Yeah, it's a real thing.
I know, right? I mean, some of you might just be curious, but I bet others are thinking side hustle or even career change.
Absolutely.
Well, get ready to have your minds blown because this is eye-opening stuff.
Definitely a fascinating world out there.
So the source for all this is Wits University, which is in South Africa.
Adds an interesting international perspective.
For sure. But before we jump into specific companies, can you give us the big picture?
Sure thing. It's all about the boom in online learning
Right.
and the huge global demand for, well, English skills. You put those together and you've got a real opportunity, even without, the traditional credentials.
So basically, the internet is breaking down barriers. People all over want to learn English.
Exactly.
And online teaching is stepping in to fill that need.
It really is. And it's not just about teaching grammar rules.
It's about connecting with people.
Right. Yeah. From all over the world. Imagine you could be teaching from that Bali beach you've been dreaming of.
Okay, now you've got me hooked.
I thought you might like that.
So the article highlights 7 companies that don't require a degree.
That's right.
Ready to walk us through them?
Absolutely. Think of it as a spectrum.
Okay, I like that.
Different levels of flexibility, how much you can earn, how much experience you need.
Gotcha. So who are our first contenders?
Let's start with Cambly and PalFish.
Okay.
They're what I call the easy entry options.
Ooh, easy entry sounds promising. What makes them stand out?
Well, they have very low barriers to entry. You don't need, teaching experience or a TEFL certificate. You don't even need a degree.
Seriously?
Yeah, you can pretty much start teaching right away.
Wow, that's amazing. But there's got to be a trade-off somewhere, right?
Well, the pay is generally on the lower end.
Right, I figured as much.
Cambly, for example, pays a fixed rate, per minute of talking.
So the more you chat, the more you earn.
Exactly. It's a pretty simple system.
So basically getting paid to chat.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's almost too good to be true.
Well, it can be a fun way to make some extra cash, especially if you like meeting new people. Imagine you're waiting for a flight and you're getting paid to chat.
That's pretty cool. So Cambly's all about on-demand conversation. What about PalFish? How does that one work?
PalFish is similar, but it's app-based.
Okay.
So even more flexibility. You can teach from your phone, your tablet, wherever.
Super convenient.
Yeah.
But with this casual approach, do the teaching styles differ much from, a traditional classroom?
Oh, absolutely. Both Cambly and PalFish are all about conversational English.
Got it.
No need for structured lessons or anything like that.
So more like facilitating natural conversations.
Exactly. It's about giving students a comfortable space to practice speaking and build their confidence.
Makes sense. I bet that's way less intimidating for some students than a formal classroom.
For sure. It's
Yeah.
like a paid language exchange partner.
Love that.
Mm.
Okay, so we've got Cambly and PalFish, the easy entry options. What's next?
Let's move on to Reply and iTalki.
All right.
These are more about, building your own online teaching business.
Ooh, now we're talking. Being my own boss, setting my own hours. I like the sound of that.
You and me both. The exciting thing is you have so much control. You set your rates, create your content. You're basically running your own mini online school.
Hold on, I just want to make sure I'm getting this. So I can design my own courses, set my schedule, and charge what I think I'm worth.
That's the idea.
Wow, okay. That's a lot of freedom.
It is. It's perfect for people who are self-motivated and good at, marketing themselves.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot more responsibility involved, too. It's not just showing up and chatting anymore.
True. You have to attract students, create engaging materials, manage your schedule, all that.
So definitely not for everyone.
Right. You got to be a self-starter. But it can be incredibly rewarding.
In what way?
Well, you can earn a lot more than on platforms like Cambly, especially as you, build your reputation.
Okay, I can see the appeal. It's about finding the right balance, I guess. Flexibility, how much you can earn, how much control you want.
Exactly.
So we've got easy entry and build your own business. What else is there?
Well, let's talk about Acadsoc.
Acadsoc, all right. What makes them unique?
They offer a more structured environment,
Okay.
which is great for people who like a fixed schedule and, having lesson plans already prepared.
Interesting.
And they specifically target Chinese students.
Ah, tapping into that huge demand we talked about.
Precisely. And they only do one-on-one lessons.
Oh, cool. So it's a more personalized experience.
It is. You really get to know your students and tailor your teaching to their needs.
That personal connection can make a big difference in language learning.
Huge difference.
Yeah,
And Acadsoc also offers bonuses and incentives for teachers.
nice. Okay, so Acadsoc, structure, personalized learning, potential bonuses. Sounds pretty attractive. What about the pay? Where does that fall on the spectrum?
It's kind of in the middle, somewhere between Cambly and, say, Reply or iTalki. Not the highest, but a good balance.
Got it. There really is a platform for every style and, well, every financial goal.
There is.
What other companies are on our list?
Well, next up is Amazing Talker. This one's all about niche expertise.
Okay, niche expertise. Now I'm intrigued. What does that mean exactly?
Amazing Talker matches teachers and students based on specific needs and interests. So let's say you're really good at business English, or maybe exam preparation, or even creative writing.
Oh, I see.
You can use that to attract students and charge more for your lessons.
It's like finding your niche and becoming the go-to person for that.
Exactly. And they have this cool feature where students can book a trial lesson.
So like a test drive before committing.
Exactly. You get to showcase your style, connect with potential students.
Brilliant. Okay, 2 more companies to go on our world tour of online teaching.
Let's go to Japan now. SkimaTalk.
SkimaTalk, all right.
This one might appeal to anyone who loves Japanese culture.
Oh, I've always been fascinated by Japan. What makes SkimaTalk stand out?
Well, they focus on Japanese professionals,
Okay.
people who want to improve their English. And there's a big emphasis on quality and, being on time. Very much in line with Japanese values.
So it's about more than just teaching English. It's about understanding the culture.
Absolutely. You set your own rates, but they do take a commission on each lesson.
Right, something to keep in mind.
Definitely.
But if you have a passion for teaching and a love for Japan, sounds like a great opportunity.
It is. And last but not least, we have iTalki. Similar to Reply, you're an independent teacher.
Okay, bring on iTalki. What sets them apart?
They're known for their global reach,
Oh, interesting.
connecting teachers and students from all over the world. You control your schedule, your rates, your curriculum.
Wow, so many cultures coming together. That must lead to some amazing teaching experiences. Anything else we should know?
They recommend starting with competitive rates to, attract students and build up those good reviews. And they take a commission, like most platforms.
Okay, so we've explored a really diverse range of companies.
We have.
From easy entry to building your own business, niche expertise, global reach, there's something for everyone.
Definitely something for everyone. And we haven't even talked about 2FL certification yet.
You're right, the article mentions it a lot, but we haven't really dug into whether it's essential or not.
Yeah, that's a big question.
Before we get into that, what are your initial thoughts on the trends we're seeing? What strikes you?
What's interesting to me is how none of these companies require a college degree.
Right?
It's like they're challenging the whole idea that you need a degree to be a teacher.
It's true. And, that brings up a big question that's probably on our listeners' minds right now. Does experience really matter if you don't have a degree?
That's a really good question, and one we should definitely talk about more. But maybe we should take a quick pause here, gather our thoughts, and get ready for the next part of our exploration.
Sounds good to me.
Okay, so let's get back to that question about experience. How much does it really matter when you're teaching online, without a degree?
Yeah, because it's one thing to not need a formal degree, but real-world experience has got to count for something, right? I mean, especially online where it's all about building trust.
Exactly, and the article makes a good point about that. A degree might not be a requirement, but experience definitely plays a role in, well, how much you can earn and what kinds of teaching opportunities you'll get.
So it's kind of like the more experience you have, the more doors open for you.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it. Platforms like Cambly and PalFish, remember those?
Yeah, the easy entry ones.
Right, they're more focused on casual conversation. You don't necessarily need years of teaching experience for that. It's more about your personality and creating a fun, relaxed vibe.
Right, right. Makes sense.
But if you look at platforms like Reply, iTalki, Amazing Talker, things change a bit.
How so?
Well, students on those platforms are often looking for something more structured. Specific lessons. Maybe they want to learn about a certain topic or prepare for an exam.
So having some teaching experience, even if it's not formal, would be a big advantage there.
Absolutely. Because now you're not just chatting. You're designing a curriculum, you're adapting to different learning styles, maybe even grading assignments. Those skills usually come with, well, experience.
And students are willing to pay more for that, right?
Exactly. Experience gives you credibility, lets you charge higher rates, and helps you attract students who are, looking for more than just casual conversation practice.
That makes a lot of sense. But you mentioned that the experience doesn't have to be formal, right? Like it doesn't have to be from a traditional classroom.
Right, right. Have you ever tutored anyone? Or maybe volunteered in a language exchange program? Even just living abroad, immersing yourself in another culture, those are all valuable experiences.
Wow, okay. So it's really about broadening the definition of experience. That's actually really encouraging to hear. It means there are many ways to become a successful online teacher.
Exactly. And what's really interesting is this focus on diverse experiences fits perfectly with the growing demand for specialized knowledge. Remember we talked about amazing talker?
Yeah, the niche expertise thing. I love that idea.
Well, it shows that education is changing. It's not just about general knowledge anymore. People are looking for experts who can teach them very specific skills or help them explore unique interests, maybe even prepare for specific challenges.
So someone who's fluent in English and loves, say, Japanese anime could actually teach a course on conversational English for anime fans.
Exactly. Or someone who's passionate about history could teach about, I don't know, the history of samurai warfare. The possibilities are endless. It's about finding that sweet spot where your passions meet the needs of your students.
This is making me rethink everything I thought I knew about teaching. It's so much more dynamic and accessible than I ever imagined.
It really is.
Yeah.
And, that brings us back to another important topic we haven't fully explored yet,
Which is?
TFL certification.
Oh, yeah, the TFL debate. The article mentioned it a lot.
It did. So let's address the elephant in the room. Is a TFL certification really necessary to teach English online, especially if you don't have a degree?
Yeah, that's the big question, isn't it?
It is. And the answer is, it depends. There are a few factors to consider.
Okay, help me out here. What do I need to know about TFL?
Right, so first of all, TFL stands for Teaching English as a Foreign Language. It's basically a training program that teaches you, well, how to teach English to people who don't speak it as their first language.
So you learn about lesson planning, classroom management, all that stuff.
Exactly. And for a lot of online platforms, it's becoming a more and more important qualification. Now, some companies, like SkimaTalk, they don't require any formal qualifications at all.
Right.
But for most platforms, having a TFL certificate can really boost your credibility, make you look more professional, and it can help you earn more money.
It's like a signal to students that you've invested in learning how to teach effectively.
Exactly. It shows you've taken the time to learn the best ways to teach English to non-native speakers.
Yeah.
That can be really reassuring for students, especially since they're, paying for these lessons.
Yeah, that makes sense. But what if someone doesn't have a TFL certificate? Are there other ways to show they're qualified and build trust with students?
Of course.
Yeah.
Remember all that talk about diverse experiences? That's where it comes in. If you've tutored before or volunteered in a language exchange program, even living abroad and immersing yourself in another culture, those are all valuable things you can highlight.
So it's not just about having a certificate. It's about showing your passion for teaching and your ability to connect with students.
You got it. And sometimes passion and experience can actually be more important than a formal qualification, especially if you're teaching a very specific subject, like, let's say, conversational English for business people or English for travelers. Your real-world experience in those areas might be more valuable to students than a general TFL certificate.
That's a really good point. It all comes back to knowing your strengths, knowing your target audience, and picking the right platform for you.
Exactly. Now, let's step back for a moment and look at the bigger picture. We've talked about experience, we've talked about TFL, but there's another really important element that often gets overlooked:
What's that?
the human connection.
Ah, yes. At the end of the day, teaching, whether it's online or in person, is about building relationships and, creating a love of learning.
Exactly. It's about creating a space where students feel comfortable, where they feel supported, where they feel inspired to, push themselves and try new things.
And that's not something you can learn from a degree or a certificate, right?
No, not really. It's about empathy, it's about patience, and it's about genuinely wanting to help others succeed.
It's about those moments when a student finally understands a difficult concept, or when they can confidently express themselves in English for the first time.
Exactly. Those are the moments that make teaching truly rewarding.
Yeah.
Speaking of rewarding, the article mentions something really interesting.
Oh, what's that?
You don't have to limit yourself to just one platform.
Really?
Yeah, you can actually teach on multiple platforms. That way, you can diversify your income, you can gain experience in different areas. It's really up to you. For example, you could teach conversational English on Cambly and then offer more specialized business English lessons on Reply.
That's amazing. It's like having the best of both worlds. And the beauty of online teaching is that it's constantly evolving. You're not stuck in one place. You're not limited by a physical classroom. You can create your own style and adapt to, well, whatever the students need.
Absolutely. That's what makes it so exciting. Who knows what the future holds for online teaching?
Well, if this deep dive has taught us anything, it's that the possibilities are limitless.
They really are.
It really does feel like we're just getting started. Oh, and you know what? The article mentions this website called teach.fm.
Oh, yeah. Teach.fm. That's a great resource.
It is.
Yeah, it's like a hub for online teaching opportunities. Whether you have a degree or not, they list all sorts of platforms. Some we haven't even talked about.
So it's the place to go if you're thinking about, taking the plunge into online teaching.
Exactly. And they have tons of helpful stuff like articles and advice on getting started. How to set up your online classroom, how to create engaging lessons, even how to market yourself.
That's awesome. Sounds like a good way to connect with other online teachers too. Share tips, get inspired.
That's a perfect segue to what I think is the most important takeaway from all of this.
What's that?
We've talked about platforms and qualifications and experience, but what really matters is thinking about what you could teach online.
Oh, I like that. Tapping into your own unique skills and passion.
Exactly. What are you good at? What do you love talking about? What do you know that other people might want to learn?
Hmm. Okay. So maybe you're amazing at coding.
Yeah. You could teach beginners how to code.
Or maybe you're a history buff.
You could teach history lessons. Bring those stories to life.
Or, I don't know, maybe you're an amazing cook. You could teach people how to cook dishes from your culture.
Right. There's so many possibilities. It could be literally anything.
I love that. It's like the world is your classroom, and there are so many people out there who want to learn.
Exactly. And you don't have to be a certified expert to be a good teacher. Passion, enthusiasm, a willingness to share what you know, that's often more than enough to get started.
So if you're listening to this and you're feeling inspired, don't let that feeling fade away. Check out teach.fm, see what sparks your interest, start brainstorming some ideas.
You might surprise yourself with what you come up with.
I love that. And you know what? Maybe one day we'll be featuring your online course on a future episode of The Deep Dive.
That would be amazing. Until then, keep learning, keep exploring, and keep diving deep.
And that's a wrap for this deep dive. We'll see you next time.